To mark the 200th anniversary of the founding of the town of Greece, the Greece Historical Society presents a Bicentennial Snapshot. Each week we take a look at a particular aspect of Greece history. Today we continue our coverage of the Ridge. From its earliest times, travel along the ridge was impacted by the condition of the road. In spring, the road became a muddy quagmire. In summer, clouds of dust could envelop travelers. In the 1860s, a portion of the ridge from Long Pond Road, then known as Greece Center Road, to Elm Grove Road, then called Henpeck Road, was planked. That is, wooden slats were laid across the road similar to a boardwalk. For the most part, however, the ridge was a dirt road until the beginning of the 20th century. In the foreground of this photo is the dirt roadway. A bicyclist goes along a cinder path. This was laid out around 1884. One had to buy a license for the bicycle to use the path. That's how it was maintained. One resident writing about the early 1900s said that bicycles were almost as thick on that path as the cars on the ridge today. Notice, too, the greenhouses in which flowers were cultivated. In 1900, Ridge Road became a state road, and money was appropriated for its improvement. In 1909, an experimental paving technique was used. 2-inch square cubes, which were called McClintock Cubes, after the Monroe County road supervisor who promoted their use, had to be laid by hand across the 16-foot width of the road. More than 700,000 cubes were laid. The cubes were able to withstand the heavy traffic along the ridge for only 2 years and then began to fail. In this photo, you can see the road with the cubes in the foreground and the length of road still to be completed in the upper portion. After annexing the village of Charlotte in 1916, in 1919, the city of Rochester annexed the rest of Lake Avenue between Ridge Road and Charlotte. Kodak Park and Wagg's Corner were now part of the city, and the city line on West Ridge Road was extended to Mount Reed. After the city annexed the village of Charlotte, which had been the governmental center of the town, a new town hall was needed, and where else to put it but on Ridge Road. It was dedicated as a memorial to soldiers killed in World War I in 1921. It was demolished in 1999. With the coming of the automobile, there was less need for so many taverns and hotels along the ridge. Blacksmith shops and carriage shops gave way to gas stations and auto repair shops. 30 years later, this is now the Ridge Road Mount Reed Juncture. The greenhouses are gone. Route 104 was built in 1926. The Pine Tree Inn on the left was a speakeasy during Prohibition, and federal agents would chase bootleggers along the ridge. You'll notice that the road is still bordered on each side by orchards, but Greece's fruit industry was devastated by a freeze in 1934. Prohibition and natural disasters such as the freeze will be featured in future snapshots. Thousands of Greece residents commuted along the ridge to work at Kodak. This photo from the 1940s shows how congested Ridge Road could get. The ridge was widened in 1956 and again in 1978, when 80,000 vehicles traveled the ridge every day over 6 lanes of highway. It was again reconfigured in 2008. The flower farms, greenhouses, orchards, vegetable gardens, and stock farms gave way to restaurants, shopping centers, and automobile dealerships. The Streb Steakhouse building was the last of the early Greece taverns on the ridge. It was torn down in 2013. Plazas such as Stone Ridge, Ridgemont, Ridgecrest, Buckman's, and Elm Ridge line both sides of the ridge. Local retailers were joined by national big box stores, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, and Best Buy, and franchise restaurants such as the Olive Garden, Applebee's, and Chick-fil-A. Shoppers flocked to Greecetown Mall, opened in 1967, and Long Ridge Mall, opened in 1971. The two malls were linked in 1997, becoming Greece Ridge Center. In these last 2 bicentennial snapshots, we have tracked the evolution of Ridge Road. A favorite exhibit at our museum is the Wheel of Change, a diorama depicting the changes over the years on the ridge. In concluding our look at the ridge, we thought it would be interesting to trace the changes over the years by looking at one site, the juncture of Ridge Road and Mount Reed Boulevard. First, we have the Lay Farm. The former Lay home became the Pine Tree Inn, operated by 3 different proprietors between 1905 and 1963. The Lay Farm became Verhulst Farm and Verhulst Brothers Farm Market from 1936 to 1993. From 1998 to the present, Bob Johnson Chevrolet, one of the largest automobile dealerships in the country, occupies the site. Thanks for joining us this week. Next week, we take a look at Asa Rowe, James Vick, and the nursery industry. This is Maureen Whalen, inviting you to join us next Tuesday for another Bicentennial Snapshot, presented by the Greece Historical Society.
Want to learn more from the Greece Historical Society and Museum? Then click that subscribe button for more content and hit that bell icon to get notified when there's more Bicentennial Snapshots. You can visit us on the web at greecehistoricalsociety.org. You can find us on Facebook at Greece Historical Society. You can follow us on Twitter at GreeceNYHistory, and you can stop in at the Greece Historical Society at 595 Long Pond Road.